Hello and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, India's only daily television platform for small businesses. Over the past 7 years, we've understood what matters most to you, the entrepreneur. And in year 8, we're taking head-on two of your most pressing concerns, that of funding and mentoring. I'm Sunanda Jayaseelan. On the show tonight, our first interview is with Anna Roy of the NITI Aayog. On the other side of a break, we're bringing you our special series, Ballantine's Golf Retreat presents 12 Undaunted Greats. Our focus tonight is Aavishkaar Group. Anna Roy, advisor at NITI Aayog, joining us live on the show. Anna, such a pleasure having you here. You personally drive the entire digital focus at NITI Aayog. You are, of course, also very closely involved with what's happening as far as women entrepreneurs are concerned at NITI Aayog. It's always good to talk to you, and thanks for taking the time here tonight on Leaders of Tomorrow. I want to start first by talking about emerging technologies that you front. Why are you so passionate about frontier technologies that you head at NITI Aayog, and talk about the work that you do, what you can tell our viewers about that?
So I head the data management and analytics vertical in NITI Aayog. One of the responsibilities which I am handling is to drive the frontier technologies policy, etc. From NITI Aayog for the country, for Government of India, including the state governments as well. Here we, by the name, frontier technologies, meaning the technologies which are not kind of established and which are evolving. So we try to see what is happening around the world, what are the new technologies which are on the anvil, and and as everybody knows, with any new phase, every new phase of the new technologies, the disruption, the degree of disruption is that much more higher. So we try to kind of have policies on how best to adopt these technologies, minimize their disruptive effects in the economy, and how well can we adopt them. And in line with this, we came out with a strategy on artificial intelligence in 2018, and presently we are working on a strategy document for blockchain.
Thanks to your efforts at NITI Aayog, the government and NITI Aayog, I understand, are focusing on 5 specific areas as far as AI integration is concerned. I do want to understand from you your thoughts on that, your thoughts as far as, how you managed and why you picked those areas, what that integration is going to be like.
So AI has a lot of, potential. Problem with AI today is it has been hyped so much that everything and anything is now termed quote unquote AI. I think it is important for us to recognize what AI is, where it is more useful, and so that is one part of it. The second thing is AI is nothing but going away from a rule based and more on predictive kind of analysis. So data becomes important. You need to analyze the data and see what comes out of those data analysis. The models thus are premised on the availability of proper set of data, and computation is I feel the easier part, and then the implementation. So identifying the areas where AI can be adopted is one of the challenges. Providing data, the right set of data is the second, and third is then on the ground execution. So we are we have identified sectors where it is more amenable to use it, and also those sectors where which are characterized by higher public goods, and where we feel that government needs to play a bigger role. So private initiative will be there, but the government needs to play a catalyst role, so that the effort in developing tools and adoption and execution of these tools is simplified. Agriculture is one such sector where we are closely working with the industry to have the necessary ecosystem which eases the process for developing the tools and adoption of the tools, so that the entrepreneurs can focus on execution as well as implementation of these tools. And not only that, entrepreneurs can also help in collection of data. For India, technology, any new technology, if we want to embrace it, we should focus on its use in solving our problems. So we need to have our own narrative rather than following a global narrative. So we coined this term called AI for all, where we are saying that do not look at this technology as a technology per se, but look at this technology as, this is the area where this new technology can play the biggest role. Overcoming the access, providing the personnel in remote areas, and that is where we came up with this concept of AI for all, that is highlighting the potential of technology in solving these problems which affect the larger part of the humanity.
Even as we're talking about the opportunities, I do want to talk perhaps about some of the challenges that entrepreneurs tell us very frequently they face when it comes to using technology. The biggest one of that is cost. What are some of the other challenges that entrepreneurs, that companies tell you they face when it comes to using future technologies?
You see, cost is something, especially in emerging technology, it is not something which is rising. It is something which is, with more and more development, you would expect it to fall. The major issue is about sunk investment in infrastructure, and as I said, this is something which government is very conscious about. Now I'll give you the example of digital payments. There the UPI enabled entrepreneurs to leverage a common platform. So going forward also, the government will focus on a platform approach where each entrepreneur will not have to go through the complete chain of each activity. Wherever common platform can be provided for any particular action that the government would strive to provide that, so that the cost of adopting technology comes down. So for this platform approach, in each of the domains, in each of the verticals, government would identify wherever common infrastructure can be put in place, that it will identify and will work on. That I think will facilitate entrepreneurs to adopt new technology.
This is a data point that we talk about very often here on the show, Anna, and that's as far as the funding into the ecosystem is concerned. 2018, about 5% single digits is the kind of funding that came into the ecosystem for women-owned and led businesses. What's going to change that?
This is one of the goals of Women Entrepreneurship Platform. These challenges, can be overcome by addressing what we call as information asymmetry, which today exists. There are schemes, there are initiatives, there is a lot happening, but because of information asymmetry, this information does not flow to the women entrepreneurs, and the ecosystem lacks the network for seamless transfer of this information. And Women Entrepreneurship Platform is basically a aggregator platform which aims at meeting this gap and providing a platform for women to know about what is available out there in the entrepreneurial ecosystem, how they can make use of it, work with each other, develop this community, and that is what I feel is the need of the hour. And towards this end, we have already taken several initiatives of launching interactions with the investor community, bringing more and more women in touch with the investor community, both through online as well as offline events. It is a big ask because we are presently focused only doing this in say metro cities, but the real need is to go to the tier 2, tier 3 cities. So we have a huge task ahead, and we are aiming to overcome it in collaboration with our various partners. But I think that is the only way forward.
Our last question is in terms of what perhaps are the specific areas where you think women entrepreneurs need hand-holding, Anna?
I would say that mentoring is important, to tell them that what are the pluses and minuses about information. So if you want to go, say HR consultancy, if you want to open, you need to study the space absolutely in detail. You need to be on top of it, while you may hire professionals to help you in your endeavor, but you need to be aware of the basic things. That is what I many times see lacking. What we can help them with is to identify the questions they need to ask, get the answers for those questions, and also connect them to the entities who can help them in this journey. And we are working with several such entities, and hopefully in another 6 months' time we will be in a position to roll out many of these initiatives.
All right, Anna, thank you very much for your time here on the show. Good talking to you.
Thank you.
Time for a quick break. On the other side, our special series Ballantine's Golf Retreat presents 12 Undaunted Greats. Our focus tonight is on Vineet Rai of Aavishkaar Capital. Do stay tuned. Back in just a second. Welcome back with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow. Tonight, bringing you a very special series. Ballantine's Golf Retreat presents 12 Undaunted Greats. Our focus tonight is on Vineet Rai of Aavishkaar Capital. Founded in 2001, the Aavishkaar Group today manages nearly $1 billion. I caught up with Vineet Rai to understand from him why he believes that impact investment is really going to change the future, and why he looks at those areas or industries that not too many people would be open to lending to, and also what the future roadmap is looking like for a group that has seen exponential growth over the past couple of years. Take a listen. Vineet, so good having you here in our studios, talking about something that's very crucial for entrepreneurs, very close to the heart of any entrepreneur, and that's of course funding, and what's really going on when it comes to funding for India's small businesses. So it's exciting to have you here, discussing that with us. My question too is, if you can start by talking about your journey behind setting up of the Aavishkaar Group. You're the only one of your kind in the sense of the scale of businesses that you look at, the range of businesses you look at when it comes to lending. Where did that idea for that come about? What's that journey been like?
So I'm a forester by training. I was in a forest in Orissa, and then of course I got married. My wife didn't find the forest as enchanting, so I came out of forest, went to IIM Ahmedabad, spent a year there, and then I set up India's first agri incubator for government of Gujarat.
Sure.
By the time I turned 29, that was 3 years by the time I was running this incubator, I realized that if you really want to make an impact and change India, you will have to allow entrepreneurs to flourish in every nook and corner of India. So I was focusing on rural India, and for that you require risk capital, and you require talent, and capital and talent flows to cities and not to villages. So I thought I would be the guy who will start India's first rural venture fund.
Okay.
I started Aavishkaar as a fund in 2001 and started a company called Intellectual Capital in 2002. The journey was very challenging, like any startup entrepreneur. I did not know how to find rich people. I had never met rich people. I was not a finance guy. So it took me 5 years to reach 5 crore, which was a very large sum when I started off with my 5,000. But when I reached 5 crore, I realized it's too small. Since then, it's been a journey of learning and change. We have made 70 investments, but at the same time, as an entrepreneur, who has raised close to $1.2 billion over the period, which is roughly 8,500 crores. We started building multiple areas and verticals because we realized entrepreneurs are of different kinds. Some people require equity, which are very scalable businesses. But those who are actually doing daily businesses require working capital. They don't have collateral to offer. They don't have their businesses are very thin margin. So you need to then innovate. So we started a cash flow lending business called IntelliGrow. We started a fintech business called Tribe, and then we picked up a microfinance company, a very small company, and we have scaled it 100 times in last 7 years in north and east of India. And the idea was to demonstrate technology can play a significant role in changing the way you deal with poor and low-income people.
Okay.
So that's our story.
What you call stupidity, most experts would call passion, and that's required in a huge measure when it comes to entrepreneurs. My question to you is, what has this journey perhaps taught you? To use this interview to talk to small businesses watching the interview to say, this has been my biggest learning, given that you've built this entire business ground up.
Passion is important, but perseverance is probably 100 times more important. Most people don't have the stamina to last. So they are thinking it's a 100-meter race. This is an unending marathon, and you are almost always under the pump. So if you are not having a mental strength to deal with these challenges, you will get found out sooner or later. I think the second thing which one needs to understand is, in the world of entrepreneurship, whether you are a small entrepreneur, a startup, or an entrepreneur with big ambitions, they must remember that out of 1,000 people who become an entrepreneur, or maybe 10,000 people, or maybe 1 million people, one actually becomes that case study or story which inspires you. So you must celebrate success every day. Whatever you achieve, wherever you've gone, you should feel proud and successful of what you've achieved. Because as an entrepreneur, your story never ends. You'll have to continue to run.
Let's talk the big picture when it comes to then financing and lending here in the country. And my first question is, what according to you is the one big thing that's going wrong in India today when it comes to lending to small businesses?
First is the issue that most of us are struggling to crack the code of how do you deal with an entrepreneur who is almost always on the treadmill with a very thin margin. And is trying to make ends meet, at the same time have large buyers on the other side. So, I mean, you've also heard it that the government, PSUs are actually one of the, I think Finance Minister went on record saying the PSUs should meet their obligations in the shortest period of time, specifically. So what happens is, when you have a big buyer and a small vendor, chances of people actually honoring their commitments to the small buyer is low, which essentially means that the entrepreneur is always in a stress. Now, this stress is mitigated by taking loans, and these loans normally come in as working capital. Now, when you have a thin margin business which has a very large buyer on the other side who actually can dictate terms, and you are taking loans which are high in cost, any disruption in the economy is going to impact the business. Now, cash flow based lending is an art which very few people know. Most investors or most lenders actually want to go on the smallest stream. So if you go for non-collateralized loans, nobody wants to go above 50 lakhs.
Sure.
And why you don't want to go above 50 lakhs? Because it seems to be the comfort area where people can lend. Now, this has been going on for quite some time. I think at some point of time there will be enough information, enough track record that will be generated that people will have the ability to come up with new algorithms, new ways of screening and providing this thing. I think there is a movement, there is a start that has been made through fintechs and NBFCs that have mastered the art of at least saying no to bad loans, but most NBFCs and lenders do not know how to find good loans.
But you're using technology, you're using technology.
We
to
are
really
using technology.
Yeah.
There are hundreds of people using technology. I think technology without a significant amount of data that is authenticated over a long period of time still does not give you. So you are using heuristics, you are using talent, you are using conventional system to deal with a very new area of markets. And therefore, technology over a period of time has to replace heuristics or people's own intellect.
Sure.
But technology doesn't have enough data to, on a large scale, to demonstrate how we can do it successfully. We are hopeful that there is enough information now that over next 5 years, you would see far better flow of capital.
For someone who's looking to raise funds, you were just discussing, collateral and how it's not necessarily easily accessible for a lot of small businesses. How should they be approaching raising funds? What are maybe some of the fundamental mistakes small businesses you see are making? What do you want to advise them?
Small businesses are of different kinds. So you can be a startup with an ambition of to be a billion-dollar company. The only product that is available to you is equity. You must always raise equity. To raise equity, you should actually be defining a clear business plan, a business plan that you want to deliver, and not a business plan you believe the investor wants to look at.
Okay.
That's the first thing for any person who is trying to raise equity. Now, if you're a run-of-mill small startup, or a small SME, which is essentially doing the same business, transparency, ethics, showing transparency of how you do your business, being slightly well organized and sharing your data transparently will go a long way in giving people confidence to lend to you continuously.
Okay. My last question to you, sitting at the beginning of 2020, both personally as well as professionally, what's the rest of the year looking like for you?
I will actually take a slight detour on this.
Sure.
You must have heard of Sustainable Development Goals. By 2030, the world has to actually reimagine itself. It has to be a world that has to be without hunger, without poverty, without inequity. Decade of 2020 is the last decade of action for all of us, for you and me, for everybody. Okay. If we have to reimagine the world, the way we have to act over the next 10 years will determine what the world will look like. Okay. And I would exhort anybody and everybody who's listening to you that here is your opportunity to participate in a decade that will never come back
sure.
to humanity. So we are trying to reimagine humanity. Every year, India needs to invest $700 billion in the small businesses, in those people who are actually being left out. That's a very large amount of money. I was a commissioner in Sustainable Development Commission where we predicted the world needs 3 trillion every year, 2.5 trillion every year. Sure. For next 10 years. I believe capital is available. What we are lacking is entrepreneurs. We are lacking for spirited performance, and we are lacking for a lot of people to know that this is a decade for action for all of us. So I think there is an opportunity that is beyond belief coming to those who are small entrepreneurs, those who are creating jobs and livelihoods, that money will come in torrents. You have to just prepare yourself. Be authentic, be real, and money will not be your constraint.
Okay, that's a fantastic interview, Vineet. Thanks very much for your time here on the show.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Completely out of time in this episode of Leaders of Tomorrow. If you have any feedback for us, our contact details is up on your screens in just a moment. Do let us know what you thought of tonight's interviews. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.